Hi everyone, I'm Candy from Susan's family. Today I'm bringing you a Christmas tree pillow. This product comes in multiple colorways, all divided into the main part: leaves, stars and facial expressions. Start by making the main part. Once completed, assemble the leaves with the main part. Then make the stars and attach them to the top. Finally, make the facial expressions and attach them to the main part. Differences will be explained separately. First, learn the main part. It's divided into the bottom and the tree body. The bottom uses a chain cast-on method. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. There are 2 pieces for the bottom. One piece don't cut the yarn. Then overlap them and continue crocheting upward for the tree body. A mesh fabric piece needs to be added midway. The stitch techniques used include V single crochet increase. Please watch the demonstration. First, let's get familiar with the chart. In the chart, R plus number indicates the round number. H plus number indicates the row number. The increases and decreases explanation column shows the stitch techniques and increases, decreases needed for the current round. The total stitches column shows the total number of stitches after completing all stitches for the current round. To make it easier for everyone to see clearly, here I'm using other yarn for demonstration. Colors are random. For specific yarn, color scheme, and hook size, please refer to the detail page of our product and paper instructions. When using the original yarn for crocheting, the first 2 rounds might be hard to see the stitches clearly. Here I'll first demonstrate with other yarn. You can follow along with the video to learn the method, or you can practice the stitch techniques with other yarn at home. After learning the corresponding stitch techniques and crocheting method, then use the original yarn for crocheting. Later I'll also demonstrate with the original yarn if you can't find the stitches. Hold the yarn tail. First make a slip knot. Insert the hook into the knotted loop. Adjust the loop size. Hold the yarn with left hand. Right hand holds the hook. Take out the stitch marker. When there's no stitch marker, you can use a safety pin or paper clip instead. Pick up the front strand below the hook to mark. Then begin casting on. First make a foundation chain of 2 stitches. In the chart, second to last means starting from the second to last stitch. Pick up the top loop of the chains to crochet. That is, this single strand. Continue as 8SC in the chart, meaning work 8 single crochets in the same stitch. Here, the indicates the stitch techniques within the parentheses are worked in the same position. The number in front indicates how many single crochets to work. Here it means to work 8 single crochets in the second to last chain. After completing the first single crochet, there's a V-shaped loop at the upper right. This is the stitch of a single crochet. Mark the first stitch. To distinguish the first stitch, add another stitch marker. Now let's see what it looks like after completing the first single crochet with the original yarn. Once a single crochet is completed, feel it with your hands. There are 2 strands of yarn across the top. A bit lower down these 2 strands, you'll feel a slight dent. Stretching open this small hole reveals the single crochet stitch. Place a stitch marker on this small hole to mark it. Or you can mark it in advance. Here we've gone back a bit. After completing the first 2 chain stitches, there's a loop on the hook. We mark by picking up the 2 strands below the hook. After marking, work the single crochets. Continue working single crochets. Two. If you do not know where the very first stitch is in the first round, place a stitch marker on each stitch to mark it. Three. The yarn is clear here, so I won't mark them. Remember to place a stitch marker on the last single crochet. Remove the stitch marker from the beginning chain. Once completed, on the first single crochet stitch, which is the marker position, finish with a slip stitch. The slip stitch does not count as a stitch, gently tighten. The slip stitch is not indicated in the form. When crocheting in rounds, always finish by joining with a slip stitch and tighten. We consider the side facing us as the right side by picking up the top loop. This completes the first round. Here's what it looks like after finishing round 1 with the original yarn. When counting stitches, you can also count these raised bumps on the surface. Start counting from the first marker position. Each bump represents 1 stitch. Count all the way to the last stitch position. There are 8 bumps here in total, indicating 8 stitches were crocheted. This is the method for counting stitches. Here's something to note. Due to the special yarn, your hands might get a bit tired while crocheting. When your hands get tired, you can change your hook holding posture to relieve it. Here are 2 hook holding postures for you. The first one is like holding a pen. The second one is like this. Place your hand above the crochet hook and gently hold the hook. On the left-hand side, the pinky has the yarn wrapped around it in a loop. If you can't pull the yarn while crocheting, just loosen the yarn and gently hold it with your ring finger and pinky. Then move on to round 2. Our 2 is 8V. The number before V means you crochet that many single crochet increases in a row. Here it means to crochet 8 single crochet increases in a row. First, make 1 chain stitch as the turning chain for the single crochet. This turning chain isn't shown in the chart. When actually crocheting in the round with a slip stitch, you need to make a turning chain at the beginning of each round. The turning chain for single crochet does not count as a stitch. You can gently tighten it. If you can't pull it, just leave it loose. Make a single crochet increase in the first single crochet stitch of the previous round, which is where the stitch marker is placed. Work 2 single crochets into the same stitch. One stitch. Remember to mark the first stitch. When continuing with the same yarn, be mindful not to crochet too loosely, otherwise it will affect the finished product's dimensions. Two stitches. Single crochet increase completed. For subsequent rounds, only the first and last stitches need to be marked. You don't need to mark the middle ones anymore. Continue making a single crochet increase on the left stitch. This round requires a total of 8 single crochet increases. Continue crocheting the remaining 6 stitches. After completing the last single crochet increase, don't forget to mark the last stitch. You can check the stitch count. The total stitches for each round are indicated in the corresponding chart. I won't mention this again from now on. Next, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. After the slip stitch is completed, pay attention. After each round, always join with a slip stitch in the first stitch and pull tight. This completes round 2. Here, using the original yarn, there's a slight shadow below each stitch. Feel it with your hands, and you'll find this is exactly where each stitch is located. When crocheting with the original yarn later, pick up through this position. Continue crocheting round 3. Our 3 is XV *8. The parentheses indicate a group. Asterisk number indicates the number of times to repeat the pattern. Make 1 beginning chain to start. I'll emphasize this again. When crocheting in the round with slip stitch, you always need to work a beginning chain at the start. I won't repeat this instruction later. Follow the pattern chart to work 1 single crochet. For each subsequent round, you need to mark the first and last stitch with a stitch marker. I won't repeat this instruction later. Then work 1 single crochet increase. 1 group, XV, is completed. I'll demonstrate again. First work 1 single crochet on the left adjacent stitch. Then work 1 single crochet increase on the next stitch. This completes the second group sequence. This round needs to be repeated 8 times. The remaining 6 repetitions should all follow the method of 1 single crochet and 1 single crochet increase. Finally join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. The third round is done. When counting rounds, you can count the raised textures. 1, 2, 3. Now we've completed 3 rounds. This is how to count the rounds. Now let's see what it looks like after completing 3 rounds with the original yarn. There are these raised textures forming concentric circles on the surface. When counting rounds, just count these raised textures. Next, move on to the 4th round. First, make a beginning chain. Next, follow the chart to make a single crochet increase in the first stitch below. Remember to mark the first stitch. Work 2 single crochets in the left stitch one after another. This group of stitches is completed. Continue with the second group. Make a single crochet increase in the left stitch. 2 single crochets. This completes the second group of stitches. Then repeat this stitch pattern all the way around to finish the round. Remember to mark the last stitch. Finally, join with the first stitch using a slip stitch. This completes the 4th round. The effect of this round is every 2 single crochets are followed by a single crochet increase. For the following rounds, follow the previous demonstration. Refer to the pattern chart and increase stitches evenly. Pay attention to mark the first and last stitches. And remember to start with a beginning chain and finish with a slip stitch. I've already crocheted this part ahead of time. You can measure the dimensions of the fabric piece here. If it differs significantly from the pattern chart, it's recommended to adjust your tension and recrochet to avoid affecting the finished product dimensions. Once it fits properly, since the bottom requires 2 pieces in total, secure one piece with a chain stitch at the end. Leave a 5-10 cm yarn tail, and cut the yarn. Keep the yarn attached for the other piece without cutting. This concludes the crocheting method for the bottom. Then take out the circular mesh piece. Align the center position with the center of the piece. Trim the mesh piece according to the size of the bottom piece. I won't trim it here. Use this as a substitute. Once the bottom is completed, next crochet the tree body. Place the 2 bottom pieces with wrong sides facing each other. Right side facing out. Position the piece with yarn still attached on top. Combine the front and back stitch markers into one stitch. Insert the hook into the enlarged loop. Make one beginning chain. Insert the hook through the stitches of both front and back pieces simultaneously. Crochet 3 single crochets in sequence. since the back piece is facing you with the wrong side. The stitch is located at the upper left corner. As you crochet, if you can't find the stitch, flip to the right side to locate it. Once 3 single crochets are completed, make a single crochet increase on the left stitch in sequence. Three single crochets. This completes one sequence. After completing each sequence, you can mark the last stitch to make counting stitches convenient. After completing the first sequence, take the mesh piece and place it between the 2 base pieces. Continue crocheting the remaining sequences according to the pattern chart. Once completed, join with the first stitch using a slip stitch. This completes the first round of the tree body. Continue crocheting the second round. Make 1 beginning chain. This round is 64 single crochets without increasing or decreasing, meaning to work 1 stitch into each stitch of the previous round, with the total stitches matching the previous round. After completing the second round, continue crocheting the next 2 rounds, using the same crocheting method as the second round, all worked evenly without increasing or decreasing. Remember to make a beginning chain at the start of each round, and finish with a slip stitch at the end. After completing the 4th round, let's move on to the 5th round. Due to yarn options here, the number of rounds shouldn't be taken as reference. Make 1 beginning chain. Follow the pattern chart to work 6 single crochets in sequence first. After completing that, the next stitch is a single crochet decrease. First work incomplete single crochets in the left side 2 stitches. Work the first stitch. Insert the hook, yarn over and pull through. This completes 1 incomplete single crochet. Continue to the second stitch, insert into the left stitch, draw the yarn through. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. Single crochet decrease completed. This completes one group of stitches in the chart. Continue to the second group. First work 6 single crochets in sequence. Pay attention not to work into the stitches already decreased by single crochet decrease. After completing, work 1 single crochet decrease. First work 1 incomplete single crochet in each of the 2 left stitches. Then yarn over and draw through all loops in once. This completes the single crochet decrease. This completes the second group of stitches. Continue to follow the pattern chart to finish the remaining part. Join with a slip stitch to finish. This completes the 5th round. The 6th round is to work even by crocheting into the previous round stitches without increasing or decreasing. After completing, use this swatch to demonstrate the crocheting method for the last row. This row follows the pattern chart to work the corresponding number of stitches. Leave the remaining stitches unworked after completion. Secure with a chain stitch at the end. Leave a long yarn tail for sewing. Pull the yarn through directly. That's the end of the main parts crocheting method. Set it aside for now. Next, let's learn the crocheting method for the leaves. From bottom to top, it's divided into the leaf base piece, and 3 layers of leaves. I'll explain them in order from bottom to top. After completing, proceed with assembly and attach to the main part. Finally, sew the zipper onto the main part. Please watch the demonstration. The leaf base piece doesn't use any new stitch techniques. Follow the main part's cast on and crocheting method. Crochet the leaf base piece according to the pattern chart. Leave a 5-10 cm yarn tail, and break the yarn at the end. I've already crocheted mine in advance. After completing, let's move on to the first layer of leaves. For the first 9 rounds of the first layer of leaves, follow the crocheting method of the main part's bottom piece. Refer to the stitch pattern chart for the first layer of leaves. The only difference between the 2 pieces is the number of stitches. Work the same crocheting method. I've already crocheted mine in advance. Now let's crochet the 10th round. Take the leaf base piece, with wrong sides facing each other, right side facing out. Combine the front and back stitches into one stitch marker. Make one beginning chain. Pick up both front and back stitches together to make a single crochet. One stitch corresponds to one stitch. Continue crocheting while adding stuffing appropriately. To make the top bulge out, I'm using the remaining yarn of the main color for stuffing here. Once completed, join with the first stitch using a slip stitch. This completes the 10th round. Continue to crochet the 11th round. Make one beginning chain. Work one slip stitch into the insertion point of the slip stitch from the previous round. Don't pull tight on the slip stitch here. If it's not a joining slip stitch, don't pull tight. Continue working 1/2 double crochet. 1 double crochet 2 in 1. Double crochet 2 in 1 means working 2 double crochets in the same stitch. This completes the double crochet 2 in 1. Work 1 double crochet in the left stitch. Work 1/2 double crochet in the adjacent stitch. This completes one group within the parentheses in the chart. We consider this as a small petal. This completes one small petal. Let me demonstrate another group. Work one slip stitch in the left stitch. Don't pull tight. To make it convenient to find the slip stitch position for the next round, you can mark this stitch. Continue working 1/2 double crochet. 1 double crochet 2 in 1. 1/2 double crochet. This completes the second sequence. Then work the third group. After completing 3 small petals, work 1 slip stitch in the left stitch. I won't mark it here. 1/2 double crochet. 1 double crochet. 1 double crochet 2 in 1. 1 double crochet. 1/2 double crochet. This completes one large petal. The group of stitches within the curly brackets in the chart is done. Then follow the previous demonstration. Refer to the chart to work 3 small petals and 1 large petal. After completing the last half double crochet, do not join with the first stitch using a slip stitch. This completes row 11. Now work the final round downward. First on the left slip stitch, pick the insertion point or pick any 2 strands on the slip stitch. Work a slip stitch. Work 1 single crochet in the left stitch. Work 1 half double crochet in the next stitch. Work 1 double crochet in the same stitch. Work 1 double crochet in the left stitch. Work 1 double crochet in the same position of the next stitch, and 1 half double crochet. Work 1 single crochet in the adjacent stitch. The following stitch techniques have been demonstrated before. Just follow the pattern chart for crocheting. Work all the way down to complete this round. Pay attention to the number of double crochets on each petal group. Finally, pick the first slip stitch, and work a slip stitch to join. Leave a 5-10 cm yarn tail, and cut the yarn. That's it for the first layer of leaves. The stitch techniques for the second and third layers have already been demonstrated. Just follow the leaf base piece, and the stitch techniques shown in the first layer. I've already crocheted them in advance here. Now let's assemble. Take the second layer of leaves. Place it on the side of the first layer near the first round. You can use a yarn needle to insert through the center position of the first round for positioning. Then secure it with yarn. Once secured, thread the reserved yarn tail into the yarn needle. Sew the backside of the petal section onto the first layer of leaves. To make the petals slightly, you can pick up a few stitches in the middle position of the second to last round, or at the position of the last round. Secure them by sewing through the backside. First, weave the yarn tail into the corresponding position. Then start sewing. There's no specific sewing method required. Just make sure it's securely fastened. Fasten and weave in ends after completion. Finally, weave in the yarn tails neatly. Remove the marked yarn. Weave in the yarn tails of the first layer of leaves on the wrong side. This completes sewing the second layer of leaves. Sew the third layer of leaves onto the second layer using the same method. When sewing, pay attention to leave a slight distance from the edge of the second layer of leaves. Make sure to sew it securely. After sewing, take out the main part. First, weave in the yarn tail inside the main part. Then thread the reserved yarn into the sewing needle. Start by inserting from the wrong side to the right side through the last stitch. Next, find any stitch in the final round of the leaf base piece to insert. Pull out through the right side stitch. Rotate the fabric to a convenient position for sewing. Pull the yarn through. Insert again into the last stitch of the main part from the right side. Exit through the left stitch. Pull the yarn through and gently tighten. Go back to the leaf base piece. Insert at the previous exit position. Exit through the left stitch. Pull the yarn through. Return to the main fabric piece. Insert at the previous exit position. Exit through the left stitch. Pull the yarn through. After sewing a few stitches, gently tighten the yarn. Go back to the leaf base piece. Insert at the previous exit position. Exit through the left stitch. Pull the yarn through and gently tighten. Return to the main fabric piece. Insert at the previous exit position. Exit through the left stitch. Pull the yarn through and gently tighten. Continue following this demonstration to sew the last row of stitches on the main part. Be mindful not to sew into empty stitches. After sewing, tie off and weave in the ends neatly. This completes the sewing of the main part and the leaf. Next, take the zipper. Sew at the opening position between the main part and the leaf. I'll first explain the sewing position. Then provide a sewing method. Or you can sew according to your own habits. When sewing the zipper, sew one side of the tape onto the main part, where there are skipped stitches. Sew the other side of the tape onto the last round of the leaf base piece. Due to the thick yarn and visibility issues, be mindful to pick up the correct stitches when sewing. And you can evenly mark them with stitch markers. This makes it convenient to keep the position from moving while sewing. Below, I'll provide a sewing method for your reference. You can learn the method first before sewing. Next, sew the zipper. Here, I'll demonstrate using a small sample. Sew the zipper at the opening position. First, cut a longer piece of sewing thread. Insert the yarn needle. Fold the yarn end in half and tie a knot. Set it aside for now. Before sewing, let's get familiar with the zipper structure. When closed, the end with the zipper head is the top stop position. The other end is the bottom stop position. The two sides are the tapes. The tapes have the chain. Position the opening towards yourself. Choose which end to place the zipper head according to your habit. Place the bottom stop position of the zipper on one side of the opening. Pay attention, the zipper head should face upward. Make sure the position isn't reversed. You can put together to check the zipper length first. The length reserved at both ends of the zipper can be identical. Secure the bottom stop position to the opening. When securing, be mindful not to show visible stitches on the surface. Secure it with several stitches. Secure the extra bottom stop position with a few stitches as well. Once the bottom stop is secured, open the zipper. Align the opening edge with the zipper chain roughly. Then begin sewing one side of the tapes to the zipper. Pick up the main part edging stitch position to sew. Slightly tighten the yarn. Ensure no sewing traces show on the surface. Try to sew more densely. Make it more secure. Pay attention to adjusting the zipper and fabric while sewing. Ensure the zipper teeth correspond with the fabric edge. Keep the opening flat at the same time. The fabric should not flare out or draw in. Continue sewing using this method. Secure the ending with an extra stitch. Sew to the other side position. Zip up the zipper. Secure both top stops to the fabric with a few stitches. Make sure the center of the zipper aligns with the reserved position. The zipper head should face outward. Do not sew it in. Once secured, you can slightly secure any excess zipper to the fabric, or leave a little distance and cut off the excess part. Just decide based on your preference. If the yarn tail is still long, you can return and sew again. Make it more secure. Tie a knot and weave in the yarn tail once done. This secures one side of the zipper. Use the same sewing method for the other side. Pay attention to zip up while sewing. Adjust the position. Prevent the two parts of the zipper from being sewn crooked. Also be mindful that the fabric doesn't flare out or pull in. Keep it neat. Complete it on your own. Look everyone. This is what the sample zipper looks like after sewing is completed. That concludes the zipper demonstration. Next, let's learn about stars. The star is assembled from 2 star pieces. Attach it to the top of the leaf once completed. Please watch the demonstration. Get the yarn. Start with a foundation chain of 2 stitches. Then work 5 single crochets in the second to last stitch. You can place a stitch marker in each stitch to mark it. This makes it easier to insert the hook for round 2. Join with the first stitch using a slip stitch, when completed. The first round is complete. Continue crocheting round 2. Make 1 beginning chain. Work 1 slip stitch in the first stitch below. Later, to make sewing easier, place a stitch marker on each slip stitch in this round to mark it. Continue working 1/2 double crochet in the same stitch. You can work this stitch slightly loose. This prevents the stitch pattern from angling too much to the right. When completed, work a CH1 picket. First work 1 chain. Then pick up the front loop of the right stitch, and the 2 strands on the left to work a slip stitch. Continue working 1/2 double crochet in the same position as the 1/2 double crochet. You can work this stitch slightly tight. This completes one group of stitches. I'll demonstrate another sequence. Work a slip stitch on the left stitch. Mark it. Work 1/2 double crochet in the same position. Work a CH1 picket. First work 1 chain. Then pick up the front loop of the right stitch, and the 2 strands on the left to work a slip stitch. This completes the CH1 picket. Then continue working 1/2 double crochet, in the same position as the 1/2 double crochet. This completes the second sequence. Continue crocheting this sequence to the left afterward. Work all the way down this round. Finally, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Gently tighten. Crochet a total of 2 star motifs. For one motif, secure with a chain stitch at the end. Cut the yarn, leaving a 5-10 cm tail. For the other motif, leave a long yarn tail. Thread the reserved yarn through a yarn needle. Place the two star motifs with their wrong sides facing each other. Position the starting and ending yarn tails between the two star motifs. Right side facing out. Sew together the half stitches, where the two fabric pieces stitches are adjacent. Match slip stitches with slip stitches. If visible, sew at the correct position. If not, evenly sew between the slip stitches. Don't pull the yarn too tight. Make the star sides slightly thick. After sewing, sew two adjacent corners of the star onto the first round of the first leaf layer. Transition the yarn tail to the corner position. Sew a few stitches. Secure firmly. After sewing, test it. See if the star falls apart when lifted like this. If not, hide the yarn tail inside the fabric. If it does, sew a few more stitches to secure firmly. That's the making method for the star. Next, learn the facial expressions. Each expression consists of eyes, blush, nose and mouth. Start with the eyes, consisting of the white part, eye socket and iris. Make them in order. First, the white part. For the purple version, the white part uses the same crocheting method as the first 3 rounds of the main part's bottom fabric piece. Just follow the pattern chart to crochet. I've already crocheted mine in advance. For the remaining versions, the white part uses chain cast on. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Now, let's show. Purple version makers can skip this part. Take the yarn. First tie a slip knot. Insert the hook into the knotted loop. Adjust the loop size. Next in the chart is 6ch, indicating the starting method is chain cast on. Chain 6. Mark the first 5 chain stitches. Do not mark the last chain stitch. When completed, the loop on the hook is not counted in the stitch count. The cast on explanation is done. Now crochet the first round. Second to last means starting from the second to last stitch of the foundation chain. Count back from the hook side. This is the second to last stitch, that is, at the stitch marker on the left side. Make a single crochet increase. Turn the stitch marker to another direction. Place it back in the same position. Convenient for crocheting later. Continue to crochet 3 half double crochets to the left. Crochet 3 single crochets into the last chain stitch. That is, crochet 3 single crochets in the same stitch. 1, 2, 3. This completes the 3 single crochets into one stitch. The stitch marker below can be removed. Rotate the piece. Starting from the stitch marker on the left side, crochet 3 half double crochets in sequence. As you crochet, keep the starting yarn tail above the hook. Weave in the ends as you go along. and remove the stitch marker. Finish with one single crochet. Join with the first stitch using a slip stitch. The first round is complete. The stitch techniques for round 2 and round 3 have been demonstrated before. Just crochet according to the pattern chart. I've already completed it here. Leave a long yarn tail for sewing. That's all for the white part of the eye. Next, let's talk about the eye socket. Take out the white part. Whether it's the purple colorway, or other colorways for the white part. The method for making the eye socket is similar, only the shape and size of the white part differ. Take a yarn tail 7/8 times the length around the edge of the white part. You can take a bit more if needed. Pull out 2 strands for crocheting. Pull out strand by strand. After pulling out all strands, take out the white part and crochet hook. Insert the hook into any stitch. If you want the right side facing out, insert from the right side to the wrong side. If you want the wrong side facing out, insert from the wrong side to the right side. I'm inserting from the wrong side to the right side here. Now the wrong side is facing you. Make a slip knot with the pulled yarn. Place it on the crochet hook. Draw the yarn through. Adjust the loop size. Joining the yarn is complete. Slip stitch into each stitch on the left. Do not tighten the slip stitches here. Complete this round of stitches. After the last slip stitch is completed, pull the yarn through. Insert the hook into both strands of the first slip stitch. Draw the yarn through. Then draw the yarn through the middle position of the last slip stitch. Weave in the excess yarn tail into the fabric. Weave in for several stitches, everyone. The eye socket is now completed. Next, let's talk about the eyeball. The pattern chart used is the first few rounds of the white part. Everyone can crochet according to their chosen colorway. I've already finished mine in advance. Some colorways require cross stitches for highlights. Some colorways don't need them. If highlights are needed, cut a 30 cm thread of the highlight color. Embroider at the centered position, or edge of the wrong side of the fabric. After embroidering, thread the reserved yarn of the eyeball into a yarn needle. Sew the edge stitches onto the white part. Note that this side of the eye socket is considered the right side of the whole piece. The eyeball can be centered here, or it can be placed near the edge of the white part. Use the whip stitch method to sew them together. That's how to make the eyeball. Next, thread the reserved yarn of the white part into a yarn needle. Sew it below the third to last round on the tree body. Or you can choose the position according to your preference. Space the two eyes about 1 stitch apart. Or you can use a pom-pom to measure the position between the eyes. Once the position is right, sew the white part onto the tree body. There's no specific sewing method required, just make sure it's securely attached. Pay attention when sewing. Don't let any other color yarn show on the eye socket. I'm placing it randomly here, just demonstrating the method. Pick up a few threads from the main parts. Surface to sew on the white part. Tie off and weave in the ends after sewing. Weave in a few more stitches to secure it. That's how to sew the white part of the eye. That completes the eye making method. Make the other eye using the same method. Now let's talk about blush. Start with a foundation chain. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise along the starting chain. Finally sew it on both sides of the white part. Please watch the demonstration. Take the yarn. Start with a chain stitch. You can place stitch markers on each chain stitch. Note: do not mark the last stitch. And the loop on the hook is not counted in the stitch count. This completes the starting chain. Then refer to the chart, beginning from the second stitch from your hook. Pick up one strand on the top of the chain, or insert the hook where you need to make a SC2 in 1 and make a single crochet increase. Adjust the stitch markers by flipping their direction as you crochet. Place them back on the same stitch. This makes it convenient for inserting the hook later. 1/2 double crochet. Two double crochets. One half double crochet. On the last chain, make a 3 SC in 1, meaning 3 single crochets in the same stitch. Once done, remove the stitch marker below. Rotate the piece. On the left side, work 1/2 double crochet into each marked stitch. As you crochet, tuck the starting yarn tail above the hook to hide it, and remove the stitch marker. Two double crochets. One half double crochet. One single crochet. Join with the first stitch using a slip stitch. Leave a long yarn tail for finishing. Wrong side facing out. Sew on both sides of the whites of the eyes. Note, crochet 2 blushes in total. Follow the previous sewing method to sew on the blushes. That's all for the blushes. Next, let's move on to the remaining facial features. The nose is a pre-made pom-pom. No crocheting needed. Just apply glue. Attach it slightly below the center between the eyes. Wait until the glue dries completely. Take the yarn for embroidering the mouth. Thread the needle. Pull out the needle from the position below the nose where you want it to emerge. Then measure it. Skip 2 stitches, forming this smiling curve. You can glue the bottom part, or you can turn it over. Creating a downward V-shaped arc, or a slightly angled downward curve. Or horizontally but slightly angled. Once the position is confirmed, embroider 1-2 lines into the same stitch. Then hide the yarn tails inside the fabric. Hide them a few times. Cut off. That's the embroidery method for the mouth. Finally, take the finished product pom-pom. Glue it to any position on the leaf. Up to this point, the entire product has been fully explained. If you have any unclear parts during the crocheting process, don't hesitate to join our Facebook group to get supports. Susan's family, one stitch at a time, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.